And we see that even in our media. Even in our media. You guys might have heard this story. It broke this morning. Twitter CEO Elon Musk, also most wealthiest man from wealthiest African American in the world. That's what I wanted to say. Actually, recently, he always goes viral. He's the wealthiest man. But he was recently and absolutely destroyed the BBC reporter when he tried to virtue signal about about hate speech and the like. So everybody, here's this video of Elon Musk absolutely destroying the BBC reporter. Here's that.
I mean, I would only just add that, you know, we have spoken to people who have been sacked that used to be in content moderation, and we've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company. Is that
what hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter,
right?
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
but just a personal anecdote, like what do you? I don't.
Personally, my for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content. And I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use.
You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why, because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore, because I just don't particularly like it.
But you said
a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second. You said you've seen
following.
more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen that for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
yep, and it goes on for longer, for 2 more minutes. Fairly similar to this, where Elon Musk is just simply destroying this guy. He comes on and he tries to say that, oh my gosh, there's such a rise in hateful content. It's virtue signaling. That is what it is. It is virtue signaling. The leftist media has pushed out there that, oh my gosh, because Elon Musk isn't banning every single conservative, because he's not saying that every conservative on Twitter needs to go, he's allowing for hateful content out there. He's allowing for hate speech. He is allowing for conservatives to have some level of a platform. So, according to the New York Post, let's break down the story a little bit more so we can kind of get some context in here. According to the New York Post, Elon Musk slams BBC reporter intense interview saying, "You just lied." So Twitter CEO Elon Musk blasted this BBC reporter, as we just saw, during Tuesday's hastily arranged, quote, interview with the journalist, where the journalist failed to cite specific examples of hate speech flourishing on social media platforms. As they discussed looming layoffs and the painful journey Musk has gone through following his Twitter acquisition last year, BBC reporter James Clayton, who we saw, decided to confront the Tesla founder about allegations that he does not have staff to police hate speech on Twitter. So as we heard, Musk asked questions like, what hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter. Do you see a rise in hate speech? Give me a personal anecdote. Give me a personal anecdote. He just wanted the guy to explain what he meant. And Musk replied, and the reporter, as we saw stumbling, honestly, I don't actually use that feed anymore because I just don't particularly like it. I don't really the For You feature, and actually a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at my followers. Here's what it is. So there is a definition of hate speech. I'm going to look it up real quick because I know there is. Hate speech in that's common language. I want to look at the actual definition here. There is a definition of hate speech. Abusive or threatening speech or writing that expresses prejudice on the basis of ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or similar grounds. So, hate speech, as defined by the dictionary, means to blatantly say something along the lines of, I hate blank because, or I hate you because you were born this way. Something like that. That would be hate speech. That is that by actual dictionary definition. I hate you because you were born this way. Genuine prejudice. Now, when this reporter brings up hate speech, he's not talking about I hate you or you are bad because you were born this way, because you're XYZ. That's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about is content he does not like. That is what hate speech is nowadays. It's not simply I hate this or I hate that. No. Or even like it's not even using a racial slur or anything like that. That's not exactly what I mean, to them. That's more than hate speech. That is a criminal offense to the progressive left. Now, I'm not necessarily condoning using a racial slur by any means. It's not my. I don't condone it. But under the First Amendment, simply using a racial slur is protected. It is. Now, if you use it in a way that is threatening to somebody, like you say, I am going to punch you and then proceed to use a racial slur, then that is the problem. Now, the reason the reporter, of all people, a reporter, a person who is, I mean, again, it was a British reporter, BBC, not an American reporter, but he's a reporter who benefits from the freedom of speech in the United States. Of all people, why he couldn't define hate speech is because it has come to boil down to speech I do not like. That's what hate speech is. Speech that you do that a leftist does not like is considered hate speech. And that's why places like YouTube, places like Facebook, Twitter, not as much anymore, not as much Twitter. But a lot of our social medias have hate speech violations because it is speech that does not go along with the traditional progressive worldview. And thus, to progressives, it must be banned because it must be hateful. To many, saying the biological fact that men cannot get pregnant is considered hate speech. It is not hateful. I don't hate somebody for believing that. I don't hate somebody because they perpetuate that belief. What I dislike is the fact that people are going away from science and saying things like men can get pregnant. That is anti-science. That is anti-truth. That is anti-objective fact. That's what it is. So that's what we have going on right now, is we have a progressive again, this was virtue signaling. I want to bring that back to that too, because that's what the title of the video is this is virtue signaling, right? So what do I mean by that? So again, going back to the beginning of this stream, the definition of virtue signaling is the public expression of opinions or sentiments intended to demonstrate one's good character or social conscience, or the moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue. So basically the idea that that virtue signaling is the idea that you are going to voice an opinion, not necessarily because you actually believe the opinion, but because you want to show that you're morally superior, that you're on your high horse in your tower looking down on everybody because of the opinion that you have. I'm better than you because I hold this opinion. And that's kind of what this BBC reporter was doing to Elon Musk. See, because he asks the question with the opinion already in there. He asks as if it's objective fact. He asks, well, there's been a rise in hate speech, as if that's just an assumption that there is a rise in hate speech. Elon Musk challenges that assumption and says, give me an example. I want to know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Give me an example. What is hate speech? What do you mean by that? Give me your example. And the guy says, no. I don't actually use that page. I don't actually look through it anymore. I actually don't know. I don't know. He doesn't know. Because he was trying to just go with the leftist mob that says hate speech is prolific on Twitter ever since Elon Musk came in. You know why they say that? Because they don't like Elon Musk. You know, Elon Musk, I don't want to consider Elon Musk an absolute hero for conservatives and everything, because some of the stuff that he has, some of the tech that he looks into is post-humanist and things like that, and that scares me. But on the track that we're on, when it comes to Twitter, Elon Musk has done a wonderful job for the most part compared to what Twitter was before. He's made it so that it can actually be a place where people go on and have the opportunity to share ideas in a free market place of ideas, and not be worried that simply voicing an opinion will get you canceled and thrown out. But because of that, because that Twitter is now a place that you can have those kinds of discussions, that you can actually talk with people and actually have a free-flowing place of ideas, the left claims that now hate speech is rampant because it is now full of ideas that they do not like. That's what we have. We got a comment here. The BBC reporter was a typical Democrat, completely sidestepping the question instead of answering it. Exactly. But the thing that was funny is that he wasn't even the one that was supposed to be answering the questions. But when you ask a question on a false premise, again, the premise that there's rampant hate speech across the platform, then you get pushed back on it. You should be ready. Especially, I know that there were Twitter users that went back. I don't have that article pulled up right now, but there were Twitter users that went back and said, you're interviewing the world's, like, one of what is known as one of the world's smartest men, and you're not prepared for him to come back at you for some things. It's absolutely crazy to me. This reporter, like you said, he sidestepped the question, and he's asking about hate speech in a way simply to try to show, look at me, I am in my high tower looking down on you because I know what's hateful. I know what is wrong, and I have moral superiority because I'm willing to call out the hate speech that you will not. That's what he was trying to do to Elon Musk. But Elon Musk said, no. Get out of here. Give me an example of hate speech. Give me an example of the hate speech that you see all over Twitter. And if anybody out there, if you're watching this while it's live or not, again, like I just had up there, shoot me an email right there, right down there. Shoot me an email with the example, with the rampant examples of hate speech that we have all over Twitter. I'd love to hear it, because a lot of the left, this is not just this reporter. This is a lot of the left claimed, and this is what they said when Elon Musk was coming in as the CEO of Twitter, is that Twitter's now going to be a far right, extremist, hateful place to be. It's going to be the Wild West because there's going to be so many hateful people now allowed back on Twitter. Show me where they are. Show me where they are, because accepting truth is not inherently hateful.